right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Kate Zimmerman, and I'm a principal deep learning architect in the Amazon Machine Learning Solutions Lab. And today I'm going to talk about a topic that may seem futuristic, but what I hope you learn really isn't. And today's topic is AutoML, or automated machine learning. And AutoML is the process of automating the time-consuming, iterative tasks of machine learning model development. And it makes it a lot easier for data scientists, analysts, developers alike to build ML models with high scale, efficiency, and productivity. AutoML automates each step of the ML workflow so that it's easier for you to use machine learning. And in today's presentation, I'll be highlighting how this technology is being incorporated throughout the AWS stack and is being made available to customers today so that you can start integrating AutoML solutions into your business. So let's run through today's agenda real quick. So I'm going to start with a deep dive on AutoML and define the technology a little bit further. And then I'll show you AutoML in action. So I'm actually going to show two demos today. The first will be applying AutoML to a computer vision use case, and the second will be for a tabular data use case. And then finally, I'll provide you with some great resources for where you can get started on your own AutoML journey at AWS. All right, so I know there's a lot of text on this slide, but since this entire presentation is about AutoML, I really want to make sure that we're clear on what the phrase actually means. So here are actually three different definitions. And at the end of the day, automated machine learning is really what allows us to accelerate ML development. So, a lot of people don't have these massive data sets on hand or a deep bench of data science experts for us to work with. AutoML really helps us get around those kinds of shortcomings. And AWS is providing AutoML by building tools throughout the machine learning stack to support horizontal use cases, so think computer vision, natural language processing, speech, but also vertical industry solutions. And in many of these instances, AutoML is not exposed as a concept to you. So we're not saying that this is an AutoML service because at the end of the day, we don't think, the user doesn't really need to know the details of how the ML models are built. You should just be able to focus on the desired outcomes. So whenever you're using many of our AWS AI/ML services, you're actually using AutoML under the hood without even realizing it, which is why today's presentation is really all about peeling back that onion and showing you just how AutoML has been integrated throughout the AWS ML stack and really changing the way that end users, such as yourself, are interacting with machine learning today. Now, why should you even care about AutoML? Well, for anybody who's tried to build a machine learning model before, I'm sure you found that it can be quite challenging for a variety of reasons. One of which is often a lack of expertise. Deep learning talent, unfortunately, it doesn't grow on trees. In fact, data science is currently one of the most in-demand career fields in technology right now. And hiring deep learning talent is challenging to say the least. And it can be very slow and expensive in a competitive market. Additionally, creating large-scale training data sets. For a quality machine learning model, you need to have a lot of labeled data. And in my experience, this has typically been the biggest blocker to machine learning adoption, which is you really can't build models unless you have these data sets, but these data sets can be very hard to create. Similarly, there's always challenges around getting the compute you need, getting the hardware available, the GPUs to train on. And honestly, it just can take a long time to build a model from scratch. To go end-to-end through the machine learning lifecycle can be very time-consuming for all practitioners, really, whether you are just starting out with machine learning or you have a lot of ML incorporated throughout your business. And so whenever we think about AutoML and the use cases that we wanted to build AutoML solutions for, we really looked across not only these common challenges, but common use cases that we see our customers coming to us with. So by building AutoML-based solutions for common use cases and verticals, we've really been able to remove many of the common challenges that our customers are encountering. So from enhancing customer experience to improving the productivity of technical teams, these machine learning use cases can help to optimize those tasks that are complex, expensive, and require a lot of human overhead. So AWS has a lot of these easy-to-use AI services, and I have a whole slide on them coming up, which really are built to tackle these common use cases, and they don't really require any prior knowledge of machine learning. You can get started with those pretty much out of the box. But we also acknowledge that there are a lot of use cases that exist outside of the pretty pictures on this slide. And for those, we offer a lot of additional services to help accelerate those types of use cases as well. So we have our machine learning platform services, which do have AutoML features built in as well to help accelerate development while still being able to tailor those models to your specific use case that may be unique from what's captured here on this slide. So, at the end of the day, we don't have any single magical AutoML service here at AWS. In fact, we actually deliberately built AutoML across our entire service portfolio. And the benefits of this approach for our customers are that, well, first, it allows you to spend a lot more time on what matters. So with AutoML embedded into services, you don't need to worry about all that data preparation, feature engineering, algorithm selection, training, tuning, all that good stuff. Instead, you can remain focused on the work that has the highest impact to your business outcomes. We also made it available to practitioners of all skill levels. So whether you're a business user, a data scientist, a developer, there's an AutoML solution available on AWS that's designed for you. From open source projects like AutoGluon to more automated deep learning methods like Amazon Lookout for Metrics, which automatically prepares business metrics and detects anomalies, there's a range of options available for you to get started wherever your ML expertise may lie. We also have a lot of options out there that offer you full transparency. So you can dive deep into the models that are actually being generated by our AutoML solutions. So these aren't necessarily black boxes. And I'm going to show a demo on this a little bit later about how tools like Amazon SageMaker Autopilot actually generate these notebooks that show you exactly how the AutoML service is generating the models that it's deploying. So it's a pretty cool feature. And then we also have a lot of these end-to-end solutions available for you as well. And you can apply, ML at scale using over 70 end-to-end solutions that we have available. These solutions solve horizontal use cases, including intelligent document processing and computer vision, as well as vertical use cases for healthcare and industrial. And all these solutions can be started within just a few clicks. All right. So pictured here is our ML stack. And when I said, it's integrated throughout all of our different services, this is what I am referring to. These are all of our services. As you can see, there are quite a few. And I'm definitely not going to spend a ton of time digging through every single thing on this slide. But what I do want to call out is that we are integrating AutoML capabilities from the bottom layers of the stack to the top. So at the very bottom of the stack are frameworks and infrastructure. This is where people are spinning up raw GPU resources and loading their own code on there. Customers can deploy open source AutoML tools like AutoGluon directly onto these GPUs, and it's actually available in the Deep Learning AMI as well. In the middle of the stack, we have Amazon SageMaker. I'm going to be demoing this a little bit later, but we actually have AutoML tools built in to SageMaker, which is our fully managed machine learning platform, which makes it easier for you to build custom models and not have to stand up all the infrastructure. At the top, we have our AI services, and these are pre-trained ML models that are going to make it really easy for you to add intelligence directly into your applications. And because they're pre-trained, you don't need to have a lot of machine learning experience to be able to get use out of these top layer services. And so that's what I want to show you next. So for the demo, I'd like to deep dive into first one of our top layer services, and that's going to be Amazon Rekognition. So what are these AI services? So the AI services are actually fully trained. So Amazon Rekognition, which I'm about to show you, is one of our AutoML computer vision services. And we've had engineers working on this service for years, curating data, labeling images. Thousands of images went into building the models that power Amazon Rekognition. But you're able to take advantage of all of this right out of the box. You just upload a picture and it returns results. So it's a pretty cool, easy way to use machine learning. And we have this for a variety of verticals out there. So, chatbots, that's using the Lex engine, speech, text, all kinds of different choices out there. And what's really nice about these models, again, is that the investment of building and training and optimizing those models has already happened by AWS. So you can just take advantage of that capability right out of the box. So it's very easy to get started. And Rekognition, for example, makes it really easy for you to add image and video analysis to your applications using these proven, highly scalable deep learning technology that requires no machine learning expertise on your part. So with Amazon Rekognition, you can identify objects, people, text, scenes, activities, both images and videos. And we provide, a lot of different labels in there by default. But one of the things that we've learned through work with customers is that while there's a lot of objects that can be detected in Rekognition by default, sometimes what you're really looking for isn't there. And that's why we added support for Amazon Rekognition custom labels for those edge use cases, for those use cases that are unique to your business. And with Rekognition custom labels, you can identify the objects and scenes in the images that are specific to your business needs. So for example, you could build a model to classify specific machine parts on your assembly line or detect unhealthy plants. And so Amazon Rekognition custom labels takes care of that heavy lifting of model development for you. So you don't have to have the hundreds of engineers and the thousands of images labeled. What you can do is just provide a few samples, label those few samples, and then basically fine tune off the Rekognition model. These custom labels, like I said, were introduced to address a key pain point for our customers, which was that, the labels that were available were not specific enough for their business needs. And so what I want to show you in this demo is just how simple it can be to use Amazon Rekognition custom labels to actually fine-tune that model to your specific use case through AutoML. All right, so let's go ahead and jump to the demo. And to get to Rekognition, we'll go up to the search bar here and just type in Rekognition. So you can select the first option that comes up. All right, and you'll see there's lots of demos here that you can explore. I highly recommend it. You can check out, the features within the AutoML computer vision service. So within Rekognition, you can just upload an image and you just get results back, which is pretty nice. These demos are fun for that. But for this particular demo, what I'd like to show you is custom labels. And custom labels allows us to basically fine tune the Amazon Rekognition model. So if we had a class of objects that we wanted to apply computer vision against, but don't necessarily have those, huge data set we want to build from scratch, we can actually use Rekognition and custom labels to be able to use AutoML to make building that data set a little bit easier and building that model a lot easier. So to start using custom labels, we'll open up data sets here. All right, and the first time you open this, you'll have to create a bucket. This is where we'll be storing our data. So go ahead and create that bucket, and then we're going to create our data set. All right, so this is our ML Summit data sets, our demo for this. We are going to actually import our images from S3. And well, before I can do that, I suppose I have to actually upload this to S3. So let's go ahead and open a new tab here. And we're going to upload our images. Now, the images that I'm using today are pretty boring. So whenever you guys do your survey at the end of the presentation, feel free to give me some more creative ideas of things that I can include here in this demo, because I freely admit that I could do better here. I'm actually going to add a folder, and we're going to go to downloads and then training images and upload this. So this is 11 images that are all just different pictures of the AWS logo. So we'll let these upload quickly. All right, and then this is going to be located in this bucket location / training - images. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and select automatic labeling, which is going to create a nice little tree for us, and we will hit submit.
So what this is doing is it's basically creating our training data set. And whenever you build machine learning models, especially computer vision models, you need to have labeled data. And that's what your model actually uses to train and detect the object of interest. So I uploaded these images into that bucket, but now I need to label them. Now, here's the cool thing about using something that's applying AutoML, particularly using our AI services like Rekognition, is that the core model has already been trained. So a team of machine learning engineers and data scientists and experts at AWS have already spent a lot of time, years actually, building and curating these data sets that create the Rekognition service. So we don't need to provide thousands of examples of images here. We can actually just add a few examples of the image that we're looking for. In this case, it's the AWS logo. So I'll add that label there. And so what we can do is actually label a couple of these images, so not thousands, thank goodness, and use this to be able to train or fine-tune that model. All right, so you would just go through and you draw this bounding box over each of our AWS logos, because that's what we want to detect. All right, now I'm not going to go through all of these here for the sake of time. So I'm going to skip ahead a bit. As you can see, just repeat this process for the 12 sample images that we've provided. All right, so let me go back real quick and switch regions on you. So I've already done this in a different region, so I can show you the final product. So we'll go back to Rekognition, back to custom labels. And if we click data sets, we can actually see my pre-curated data set for you. All right, it's the same images, they just have already been labeled. So that's what these little squares around it. I actually drew the squares for all the pictures. And what we do after we create this data set is we create a project. So here I've created this ML Summit training project. And all I had to do here was provide the data set. So I said, all right, I want you to use my Summit data set that I just created, and I want you to train me a model. And that's exactly what Rekognition did for us. So here we can actually see our training job. We can see the outputs of our training job. All right, guys, like I said, better examples, better ideas here. Welcome. The AWS logo has a perfect F1 score, which means that Rekognition already detected this logo. But you can see that all the information is captured in here. So we can see details about the data that was used for training, details that was used for validation, as well as an overall summary of the training job. And then we can deploy this model for inference. So down here, we can see that I already pre-deployed this for us, but that basically creates an endpoint so you can integrate it into a UI. So we label those 12 pictures, guys. I mean, if we were to train a computer vision model from scratch, it's typically thousands of pictures before we get good performance. Here we only use 12. We're able to then, with a couple clicks in the console, kick off a training job and then deploy this model into an endpoint, which enabled us to then integrate that into some kind of UI. So here's a simple little UI, but you could imagine, I'm sure you have much cooler analytic tools where this would be integrated into. And so if we click here on the model, we can actually begin to upload new pictures. Let's not use a training image, that would bias. So let's go to desktop. All right, so here is a picture, and we can see that it does in fact detect our AWS logo. It uses the label that I provided, AWS. We can see the confidence score, so it's 97% confident that this is the AWS logo. And we can actually see the API calls as they happen. So you can integrate this into your apps on your mobile phones. It could be on your website. You can use it as part of your analytics tooling. But it's a very simple way to adapt a pre-trained service under our AI services to your data sets or your unique needs.
All right, awesome. So now the AI services are really powerful because they're ready to use right out of the box and fine-tuning them is easy. However, we also recognize that many customers have use cases that require models to be built entirely with their data. Perhaps data is very unique, or perhaps the use case is very unique to the business. But in these instances, we recommend that customers use Amazon SageMaker. And Amazon SageMaker is our fully managed machine learning platform. It's been built from the ground up to provide every developer and data scientist with the ability to build, train, and deploy ML models. And it's been growing significantly over the past few years. So we have actually launched over 50 different capabilities in the past year alone, all aimed at making this process even easier for our customers. And so there's a lot of features in SageMaker, and I highly recommend you attend one of the SageMaker deep dive sessions to learn more about this particular service because it's so powerful. But what I'm going to focus on today is one of the features in SageMaker called Autopilot. And Amazon SageMaker Autopilot is an AutoML solution for tabular data. So what you do is you provide a tabular data set, you select this target column to predict. That target column could be like a number, so think a house price, which is regression, or that target column could be a category, so spam, not spam, which would be classification. And Autopilot will automatically explore different solutions to find the best model. So you can then directly deploy the model into production with just one click. It's cool because you can also get a lot of insights about your data and your model for better explainability. So at the end of an Autopilot training job, you get an output that actually tells you exactly what combinations of different models were tried, how the data was prepared, and what works best, and what didn't work so well. So it's a very cool solution, and it's really doing the ML development for you so that you can focus on using those models, which is the most important part anyways, right? How do we apply machine learning to our business problem? And so real quick, just to give you an idea of the types of use cases that Autopilot's designed for. So really, it's just you need tabular data. That's the ingredient. And I will say, tabular data is such a common data type, but it's actually hard for me to provide a succinct list of use cases. But think like any of your like spreadsheets, your relational databases, the CSVs. Common use cases here, again, housing prices. I'm going to show you a demo on customer churn. We have a bunch of data about our customers. You could use that to forecast, and I'd say forecast, but like do regression against different values and estimating pricing for different markets using a tool like Autopilot. And so this demo, like I said, it's going to show a customer churn use case. But what I want to do is quickly walk you through what Autopilot does. So I want to provide a quick demo here that's going to showcase the Autopilot service and show you how you can get started with an Autopilot job. All right, so let's jump into the demo.
For the Autopilot demo, we're going to start again at the AWS Management Console. And instead, this time we're going to go to SageMaker. So we can just type that into the box, select our top service here. That's going to bring up our SageMaker console. What we're going to do is actually open up SageMaker Studio. Now, if you've never used SageMaker Studio before, it's going to look a little bit different the first time you open it. So you have to create the Studio instance, but let's just go ahead and open up the one that I already have ready to go. Right, and whenever you go into the SageMaker Studio, you'll actually see right here on the front page, build models automatically. SageMaker Autopilot. There's a little video for how to get started, a blog post, a tutorial, and there's also a button here we can click that will help us create a new Autopilot experiment. So this GUI is one way that you can interact with Autopilot. So here we would just point to our data sets. And if I actually jump over to this tab, I can show you it pre-populated here. So you have our ML Summit demo as our experiment name. We have a bucket that we're pointing to, so the SageMaker East bucket, and then our data set name, which is a CSV. CSV, comma, separated value, tabular data. So that's going to be our input. For this use case, I'm actually using this bank data to predict whether or not a customer is likely to leave a bank. So it's a customer churn problem that's within our data set. And so you can just fill out this form and click create experiment, and the magic happens. And so whenever you input the tabular data into Autopilot, you select the target columns. That's the column that we're trying to predict. What happens behind the scenes here is a bunch of training jobs get created on your behalf. So if we go into the SageMaker console, we can actually see, I pre-ran a job for us, all these different tuning jobs that happened. So this is Autopilot trying different algorithms, different hyperparameters, different ways, different combinations to try to solve this problem to build the best model that fits to your specific data set. And so we can click into any one of these and we can see what it actually did. So we can see that it was training using pipe mode. We can see the actual metrics that it was using. I know it's a little messy, but down here we can see, here are the different parameters, right? So our alpha, our ETA, our gamma, our lambda. So all these different parameters that if you don't know what they mean, it doesn't matter because Autopilot does. And it's actually going through and trying all these different values and numbers in here and very intelligently searching this space. It's not like randomly picking these numbers. It's actually using algorithms to determine which numbers to input here as well. And so this training job kicks off. It takes, for this data set, which is fairly small, it took about an hour. Again, it's hundreds of different combinations of hyperparameters that happen to truly appreciate what happens in an hour. And then in addition to that, you also get these really cool outputs. You get a model, but you also get these notebooks that walk you through how that model was created. So then we talk about full transparency. I mean, this is the code that you could execute to recreate these different, to recreate how it did the data exploration, to recreate how it did the candidate exploration. So if you were super savvy, you could come back to here and play around with these values if you wanted. You could take this code and move it somewhere else, or you could leave it as it is. And this just helps you understand exactly what went into building your machine learning model so that you can, let your leadership know what happened, so you can understand and learn from what happened to actually go and build this model. So when we say full transparency, I think it doesn't get more transparent than Autopilot, where you can see every algorithm tried, every hyperparameter tried, every combination, every tuning job. You can see same thing with data. So all the different techniques it used to try to fill in missing data points and things to that effect. So Autopilot is very cool, works with tabular data, and it is able to really jumpstart your ability to build models for tabular data set.
All right, great. So I hope you're now super excited about all the ways that you can start incorporating AutoML solutions into your business. And as a next step, I definitely recommend that you roll up your sleeves and get hands-on. You join the ML Summit to learn. So just so you know, you can keep that learning on going after the summit with these resources here from training and certification. We offer over 65 courses. Many are free and on demand, as well as virtual instructor-led training. AWS experts will help you or your team learn how to apply machine learning to your business and unlock new insights and value. And when you're ready, prepare for the AWS Certified Machine Learning Specialty Exam, which really helps validate your skills and provides an industry-recognized credential that you can put on that resume. And all these assets, by the way, can be found on a downloadable attachment. But like I said, I think AutoML, it really removes that friction from getting started with machine learning. And I think the easiest way for you to realize that, experience that, understand what that truly means is, again, to get hands-on, to try out a POC, check out our free tier, have some fun, upload some images and recognition, see what labels come out. I like to do the celebrity facial recognition feature, by the way. In Rekognition, there's you can upload a picture and it tells you what celebrity it looks like. So you can see what celebrity you look like. But again, you're using machine learning with only a few clicks. And so that's really the power of AutoML solutions out there. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for your time today. It really was a pleasure getting to speak on this topic. I think that, in the future, AutoML is only going to grow in popularity. It's so important that we remove the barriers that make machine learning challenging for customers. And that's exactly what we're striving to do here at AWS. My final ask of you is please do not forget to complete your session survey. Your feedback helps me improve my future presentations, and I do greatly appreciate that. Again, I hope you enjoyed today's content and you learned something new. Thank you.